Hi, I'm Jerry from The Bitter Joy.
And I'm Chris from The Bitter Joy, and you're watching or listening to
Mikey's Untitled
Music Show.
Welcome to Mikey's Untitled Music Show, guys. Today we have Chris and Jerry from the band The Bitter Joy. How you guys doing today, man?
Hey, good to see you guys. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Fantastic, guys. What a day. What a day to be chatting about kids.
What a day to be alive, bro. What a day to be alive, right? It's another day. We're alive, we're kicking, we're breathing, and we're lucky to be doing that, right? Jerry, how did you meet Chris?
Yeah, so it was, I want to say 2019 is when we met. Chris and I actually used to be in a band together. It was like a pop punk band that Chris is still the front man of today. But we had some member changes going on in the band in 2019 where our initial drummer left and we needed someone to kind of come in and take over. And Chris was kind of the friend of a roommate of our bass player. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. And we kind of got linked up through that connection. And yeah, Chris started drumming for us. And yeah, we hit it off pretty off the rip. And yeah, that's how we met. We were actually in a band together before. Yeah. So
What was the first thought you had when meeting Jerry?
Oh, dude. I mean, the whole lead up to it was crazy because I was playing in a band at the time in Boston, and the guitar player for that band, that was on my end, that was a connection because it was his roommate's brother's friend was the bass player for Planet Mercury. So I was like, oh, and they needed a drummer, and what I had going on at the time was going to be coming to an end. So going into this whole thing, oh my God, I could play in a pop punk band. This is going to be sick. Would love to show them what I got, So I sent a couple videos over, and I'm in touch, I think, with Pat, the bass player at that time. And he's like, if you want to come see us, we have a show coming up. If you want to get a feel for, what we kind of do live. And I was like, yeah, would love to. So that was my first time meeting everybody in person, was getting to see them play at a show. I think it was at the barn, at your barn, Jerry, right?
yeah, I remember. Yeah, yep. Yeah, and it was cool because those barn shows were really unique. We had to just cleared out all the shit in my garage. We would just throw these house shows of different local bands. So that was a cool one for you to catch and cool one for you to meet us at. It was dope.
I was there all day too because you were setting up. Because you were putting it on, and you had other groups that were local coming and playing, which I thought was sick because I grew up hearing about stuff like that and watching documentaries about old in the Bay Area and shit. I love punk growing up, so getting to go to one of those shows where it's not at a venue, but it is a venue where people are just coming to go see music, and there's a couple different bands, and one of them I could be playing in, that's crazy. So it was so fun, and I got to watch them set everything up. I got there, I think we got there 1-2 p.m. and the show was at 8 maybe.
Yeah,
something like that. But it was great, man. It was then
we if I remember correctly, we still had to do some tightening up. So you were kind of there seeing the whole process and kind of what we sounded like and all the gear that we had and stuff like that. So it was cool.
It was, yeah, getting to watch that was this is nice. Really cool. Love the energy.
Yeah,
from everybody, everything.
even in the smallest places, you can find music everywhere, and performances and things like that. So that's really cool.
That was that also, not to, but just kind of piggybacking off of that.
Oh
too,
yeah,
smaller, intimate shows, and venues. When we would go on tour too, after I joined the band, that was when we got to see that stuff firsthand in so many different cities too. We would be sleeping on floors in frat houses or just event houses that people would just all chip in and just pass down to different generations, whether there's a college of kids or just a house that does stuff like that. And doing that together too, I think is what really helped to bring us close, and experiencing that stuff while we're playing, but also just being on the road and living that was really,
yeah, it was to piggyback. It was it's kind of mind blowing when you have a little music scene in Rhode Island. I live out in the middle of nowhere in Rhode Island. It's like you, Michael. It's a super small town. So then when you're a kid from Rhode Island, you travel down to Georgia and you're so far from home, but you realize that the kids there and the people there have like a similar scene to the one in Rhode Island. It's just like a bit of a different culture, but there's just like thriving little pockets of like music communities all over the place. It puts things in perspective that everyone's into it in some way. You know what I mean?
Chris, could you tell me about, one of the first times you actually started using your musical creativity like for yourself?
Yeah, man. Oof. I mean, I come from a pretty musical family, so it's always been around since I was really, really young. Like my dad is a killer piano player and plays in like a 50s and 60s rock and roll band. And then my mom was super, she used to be a theater actress for a long time and taught and directed shows when I was growing up. So I was always around it. And for like the first thing that I can remember doing was drums when I was like super little, like toddler and below on my kitchen floor. My parents would set up like pots and pans and I would just be hitting them with chopsticks.
That's
So that would be like just like visceral memory of like floor with chopsticks. But putting some actual like context to the music, I guess, would be when I turned 8, I got an acoustic guitar, and when I turned 9, I got an electric guitar, and that was when I saw Green Day for the first, or like really like knew about them for the first time
Mhm.
when I was 9, because that was or when I was 8, and that was when American Idiot came out. I just moved towns, and I still remember listening to, I think it was Holiday, and it was in my room playing on like a CD player, looking out over my yard, and I was like, this band's the best band of all time. And I want to play guitar because of these guys. And also, my dad plays piano and he's way better than I could ever be, probably. So, not even going to try. So, drums and guitar, here we go. Um, so, yeah. And then I took a couple guitar lessons, but early memories were a lot of just drum stuff and hitting stuff, pillows. And yeah, I don't know. Man, I just like always like drum with my fingers on stuff too. And like click my teeth, which is really bad, but I'll just do like full beats with my teeth
And
at
I
work.
know exactly.
You know what I mean? It's weird. It's bad.
Oh yeah.
All
I
that,
I
you gotta stop doing that. You're just porcelain. You're gonna just chip them all down before you're 35. You know?
Yeah.
yeah, I would do the same thing. I would like I loved the drums because my dad was a drummer. And my dad played in I grew up in the church, so in the Christian church, so he played like every Saturday him and his band would play music. They would do covers, like Christian covers of other songs, but like I would see him up there all the time. My mom was a singer in the song service as well, so she was up there singing. So I've been around music my whole life also, like going to their band practices. And my parents were really into the church, so they would like take my dad would take me with him to like these men's discipleships or like these other things where we would watch other Christian bands and stuff too, like Clay up in there and stuff. But I always had music in my head, like I was always doing the drumming, like the drumming with my hands. My uncle was the same way. Like he would like I forget what Hambonin or you know what I mean? Like he would be doing that with like in his legs also, and people would kind of make fun of him for it, but like he always had like that beat in his like, oh boom, hey, listen to this, and like he'll be doing that. So, but yeah, it's awesome. But kind of to bring it back to Green Day, it was kind of like the same age where I um listened to Green Day. I mean, you're kind of aging me a little bit. You say you were 8 or 9 when American Idiot came out. I was like probably 14, 15 when that came out. But one of the first cassette tapes that I had ever like really listened to like myself and actually like found myself is a Dookie, the Dookie album on cassette. And I don't know whose it was or how I found it, but I just remember finding it and seeing Green Day on there, and I had known the name Green Day because like when I come around or like whatever, but I didn't know I'd already listened to the songs on Dookie, right? Or like a few of them. So I put it on, and I just remember like I was like, wow, like wait. This is so this is so awesome. And I was lucky enough actually it all because American Idiot is my favorite album from Green Day. It's flawless, bro. Like it's just it's so good. And at that time I was a teenager and I swore I was the Jesus of Suburbia and like blah 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 blah, like
Yeah.
all this angst in me and all these emo emotions, teenager. But I was able to watch them when they did their last tour. They did Dookie
Oh
and
yeah.
like in full. Oh my God. I cried like 3 times in that concert, dude. Like it was just like full circle. My two favorite albums from my it's System of a Down and Green Day. Those are like my two tops, and from one of my favorite artists like of all time. It was just it was great. It was so good. Jerry, what's one of the first times you remember being creative with your music?
Yeah. So similar to Chris, my father was always playing guitar. He had a 12 string that he was always playing. Um, so I kind of grew up listening to him play John Denver and old Neil Young songs. Um, so again, I was kind of always surrounded by music.
Mhm.
Uh, and then like I remember my parents got me like a really low end electric guitar for Christmas one year, which I know is like the story for a lot of kids, I think. But I remember when I was like in elementary school, middle school, there was just like a resurgence of guitar culture. I remember like Guitar Hero was huge. Um, especially Guitar Hero 3, like they had Slash in the game and stuff. And I was over here playing like the plastic controller. I'm like, yo, dude, I have a real one, dude. Like I should try to learn how to play it. And that's kind of like where I got into it a little bit is it was just like through the instrument itself, guitar. And then my love for music kind of came after that, songwriting and things like that. But yeah, it was just a really cool time to kind of be getting into music because there were bands like the White Stripes were huge, Black Keys were huge. It was like all these like newer rock bands that were kind of fueling, I guess, my own creativity because that's kind of where I was like, yo, I want to be doing that. It was like this really gritty, bluesy rock was just kind of, I don't know, coming alive again. Um, and then in high school, I would say is where I got a little more creative at songwriting and things like that. I started listening to like a ton of Oasis and 90s music. And that's where like I truly was like, yo, this is really what I want to be doing. So yeah, my early memories though, I really wanted to be just a guitar player. I was watching like tons of guitar virtuoso videos like of Steve Vai and all those just ridiculous guitar players. And yeah, that's like really what I wanted to do when I was like younger. But once I got into high school, I realized like, oh, I really wanted to like, I kind of want to write about my life and get into songwriting a little bit more. But I would say my father had a huge influence on me because there was just always music in the house, and my father was like a little bit on the older side of people my age, I guess. So I was listening to a lot of Beatles growing up, a lot of classic,
Mm.
which I really appreciate now. As I'm getting a little bit older, I feel like I grew up on a lot of cool stuff because of my father.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just remember coming home from school and I would just lock myself in my room, dude, and I would just play guitar all afternoon with my line 6 Spider 4 amp, dude, cranked up. Dude, my grandfather would have to listen to that all afternoon, me trying to learn how to play that thing. But um yeah, it was just a cool time. That's kind of like where all the creativity kind of came from. It's just a cool time for like rock music and to be a guitar player.
Yeah, and I'm sure as your I mean, I'm a father. I have two boys,
Yep.
but I'm sure your grandpa like however you thought you sounded, I'm sure just him looking at you playing that thing and
Yeah, man.
just watching you do it, just like I'm sure he always had a smile on his face.
Yeah, he was great, man. I think it was cool for him to see me pursuing something like that, but man, I had the distortion all the way up. That poor guy. Knows.
Yeah. Oh, kind of like me and Chris, like, I had like one of the biggest musical influences in my life, was System of a Down. My uncles had got me or not got me, but they had, you know, I didn't really go find music because I just had what was on the radio and stuff like that, like I didn't like we were also, not like we're poor, so we couldn't really go and get new CDs and stuff like that, or that wasn't even on like the bill, right? That wasn't even like part of it. So it was just whatever music we got, like that's what we got. And sometimes my parents would come up with CDs, like a few big influences, or like No Doubt, Metallica, well, Census Fail comes later, but like Green Day when I first listened to them, System of a Down, and Michael Jackson. Like those are some like huge, like I had those albums at home, right? So they
Mhm.
kind of like really shaped my musical life. And like Chris, like he had that Green Day. Was there one band or one genre that kind of really resonated with you and kind of made you want to like, this is what I really want to do when I grow up?
Yeah, for me it was definitely Oasis. I remember I was I was into very guitar driven music until I listened to Oasis, where it was like their focus was so heavily on like the melody of a song. I remember I was like a freshman in high school, and there was one live performance of their song "Don't Look Back in Anger," which is one of their top hits.
Hmm.
But it was like this stripped down version he played in Argentina, and the crowd just takes it over. And dude, when I watch that even today, I still get choked up because it's such a humbling experience. I mean, and especially for the guys in Oasis, they're known to be kind of like arrogant, and it's kind of like their whole caricature. But you can see on stage that this guy's being moved to like tears watching the crowd sing his song to him, and it's just like the most powerful thing I've ever watched. So that's where I was like, okay, like I've been so focused on becoming a really good guitar player and all this, but like man, if you have like really good songs and good melodies like Oasis does, like so that band kind of changed my whole perspective, and that's where I really fell in love with music. And I listened to them religiously. I even like today I was listening to them in the car. I listen to them every day, dude. It's crazy. But I'm sure we all have bands like that. Green Day was huge for me too. Like I have a Dookie poster back here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just one of the greatest bands ever. But yeah, for me, it was Oasis, man. I think like they had like the enthusiasm, they had the attitude, but just overall, like I just think that their melodies are just fantastic and their songs are great. So
And you're gonna be seeing them.
dude, oh my god, I
Oh,
can't. Yeah, my girlfriend got me tickets to see them in Ireland, which is just crazy to me. She's like that. Because they've been broken up for like 15 years, and the two brothers who front the band, obviously they haven't gotten along in forever. Um, so they got it back. They finally reunited, and my girlfriend somehow scored tickets. Baby, let's go.
They come back with one of those peaky caps or like 10 of them, you know?
Yeah, how many people walking like this, dude?
razor blade right here.
Yeah, dude, the mod haircut. Oh, jeez, dude.
That's awesome, bro. Like
Yeah,
it's they're like one of those bands like Blink-182, right? That you really didn't know.
yeah.
Like, or I didn't think, bro. Even when they got I forget the singer's name for Alkaline Trio, but when they got that guy, um, like that first album was good, dude. I liked it.
California?
Or California, that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that album. I think that's one of Blink-182's best albums, like
Mhm.
for sure. You know what I mean? And then they kind of divulged and went in a different direction for that
Yeah.
second album. So I think me personally, that second album is kind of what like it turned me off a little bit, just because the
Mhm.
first one, yeah, it was different, but it sounded like Blink, you know what I mean? Like it sounded like it, and then they kind of like moved away from that sound that they had first given.
Mhm.
But I really liked it. California is one of my favorite songs off of that album actually, and I've listened to that album from start to finish like 20 times or something.
Yeah.
It's really good, but they're one of those bands that you never thought that they're gonna be back. Like there was just so much like
Yep.
heated like thing, but then something like Mark coming with cancer and like getting out of it brings everybody together, right? And
Yep.
and most of all, it's the music. Like I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Chris, when you first started or when you first joined Jerry's band, were you guys the Bitter Joy already?
No. So that was back in 2019. That was Planet Mercury.
Okay.
Um, So I was with them, still with them, moved around. So now I'm singing and playing the Guitar. And then Jerry and I reconnected in 2023.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Yeah, it's 2025 right now.
I know, dude. I swear we made this band yesterday.
Hey, I made this podcast literally yesterday, dude.
What's going
But yeah, so it was really easy to reconnect, I think, because we bonded so much and still do over all the music that we grew up listening to. And like, we'll still find out that each of us know the same tune that we didn't know that we both knew before when one of us starts playing it on the guitar and we're like, what? If you know how to do that? Wait. All right, do it again. I'll do this harmony. Um, so like, I don't know. And going into it with that already in mind, just made it so much easier. And like, I know that we're both like something that Jerry had said to me one time, that really still sticks with me is that like, we're lifers. Like we're going to be like, we want to be doing this forever. And this is always going to be what we're fighting for, I think. And like, driving towards and willing to move things around for to do these things, which gets harder the older that you get for sure, because things to move around aren't always as easy, but
on?
that's what makes it even more, I think, rewarding when you get to do these things and it just happens. Um, so yeah, we started up again in 2023 and we've just been really communicative about tunes that we're working on or times that we want to get together and work on stuff or see each other or hang out or just jam. Um, but yeah, I mean, and I've been in Jersey City for about 3 years now too. So, and the Planet Mercury is also up in New England. So I'm very like I love being on the road. It sucks being away from my girlfriend and my dog. But
Hmm.
I've been doing these like weekend trips where I can like I treat everything almost like a tour where I'm there for that person or that group or that event. And that's so awesome to just like be in that space and be whenever we're together, you're just creating things and like on the same page. So getting to do that with Jerry again has just been awesome. And like getting to see each other, going to the studio together, like picking out weekends where we're just going to have 3 days to just crank on tunes. I just get so excited. Even if it's like 6 months away, I'm just like, great, got that to look forward to. Got so much to do between now and then, uh, but in an exciting way.
Yeah. And Jerry, between 19 and 23, did you have any other musical projects as well, or were you kind of just on a little hiatus?
Yeah, like those years especially were like admittedly kind of confusing in a way. I had so much going on in my personal life, bro. It was a pretty tumultuous time, I would say. I there was a point where I just like did not want to I had like no creative spark at all, dude. It was I just had like I had to focus on home for a little bit. Um, but like that itch is always there to create. So I was doing like a lot of cover gigs with a buddy of mine with some originals too, but not as much as I really wanted. Like I'm so focused on original, but I was kind of doing music as an income more. I was doing a lot of like restaurant gigs with a friend of mine and trying to get some money that way. But that time period was kind of odd. I felt kind of soulless doing that because it's just not where my heart is. To kind of do those kind of like wedding gigs or those restaurant gigs, whatever you want to call them. So um, so it was tough, man. It was like that itch was always there to kind of create. That was like the main thing when you're doing those kind of shows. You lose that creative element of music, which I was having a really hard time with. Um, so that's when 2023 came around, and I was like, okay, I want to break away from this, and I want to do songwriting. And I want to make my own music, and I just needed to find like a partner to do that. So it had been a while since I'd worked together with Chris, and I knew it was going to be tough because it was going to be long distance. Being in Rhode Island here, and then Chris is in Jersey, but I shot him a text about like, dude, do you want to just like play drums on some songs and help me out with this project? And it would be like very low stress, whatever you want to do, whenever you can help out with it, but balls in your court kind of deal. But um, yeah, so things are much more normal now, which I'm so thankful for. And obviously, Chris is one of my best buds and a great creative partner. So Yeah, definitely. It's been fun so far, and we're still on our baby phase too, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and you guys are a two piece, right?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, we kind of split the load in sense of in terms of like what instruments we're playing. I typically will do like guitar and like lead vocals, and most of the songwriting, whereas Chris will like take over on, bass, drums, harmony. He helps me out a ton with the stuff I just don't know how to do. So
That's fun, dude. It's so fun. Like I'll get Jerry's great at songwriting and he's always been great. So getting to like put stuff to these songs again and like give more life to what's already so alive is always fun, especially on drums. Cause I feel like I've had such a like rhythm has always been inside of me. So getting to like connect that with what he's come up with and what he's played and what where these emphases are, and getting to make sense of the whole thing and then to put some bass behind that too, which
Mm.
I didn't used to do, but like the more that you play a little bit of everything and pick up notes on guitar and like rhythmically connecting it with drums and just playing a bunch more, it's enough, I think. And like particularly for me, a lot of these tunes like what I'll go in with a mindset of like this is gonna sound I don't it just inevitably it's gonna sound kind of like for the drum parts and the bass parts, I'm hearing like some Zeppelin, which I love, and like big powerful things for some of those huge chords that Jerry's hitting throughout the tunes, and then you'll get a little some you'll hear like some Travis Barker, a little Trey Cool stuff here and there, but that's just because that's what I hear when I hear him play, and it's like it's in there, but it's different enough where we can kind of put our own spin on it, and then getting to mess around with the bass too on these recordings, and working with Mike Dwyer at the bunker, great time. It's such a great environment, and like you get to really try out some fun stuff. But admittedly, I'll usually save the bass until like I think one of the times we went, I was just the night before we were in bed and I was just like on bunk beds across the room, just like fiddling with the bass part and yeah, just coming together like that. But
yeah.
And are you guys, excuse me, are you guys looking to add more to your band, or is it this is the bitter joy right here?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think when I started it, I always wanted it the foundation to be Chris and I. He's like one of the most he's the kind of person I trust the most that I've ever worked with. I'm saying that as if you're not here, Chris, but like you are like the one I trust the most creatively, also as a friend. So I think like I would love the one thing that stinks is um being long distance too. It's a little hard to get more members as well because they would have to be willing to make that kind of sacrifice. Hey, like we're gonna be going to Jersey City for the weekend to rehearse the songs or whatever. I get it's a big ask, so um, right now I think we're just cruising as a two piece. It's really fun to just kind of write, record, release, and then just kind of repeat that process. It's been pretty painless for the most part. But who knows down the line? Like I think if we ever wanted to play live, it'd be something I would definitely be willing to consider. But yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
And even just in like rehearsal spaces and stuff like that, when we're putting the tunes together, it's always a blast. Just, I mean, it's great with a full section when you do have that bass foundation, but I don't know, man. Like hearing guitar and drums the way that we do it, it's fun, especially for like jamming. But I don't know. We've talked about it a little bit in terms of performing, which I love playing with you. So I would love to get there eventually. But even if we do as a two piece, like I've seen plenty of acts that are, I mean, maybe they'll play with tracks and stuff like that. But even just the raw rock and roll two instruments could
yeah.
definitely entertain and be different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worked.
You mean
It's worked plenty of
Royal
times.
Blood too, right? They're just two amigos.
Who was that? I'm sorry.
Royal Blood.
Oh yeah, dude. There's I fit top
Yeah.
three bands, bro. Yeah, they're two guys, and they just sound massive. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, you got White Stripes, Black Keys. There's a bunch of two pieces out there,
Yep.
like it's it can happen. It's like, and your guys' music is great. Like, to be honest, like when the first time or I would say your first single, was that Bloom?
Yeah, yep, that was the first song that we released. Yeah.
What was what was it like finally, or not finally, but like coming together and saying, all right, we need to release a single. Oh, how is that process for starting? How do you pick like what kind of song you want to make? And yeah, just tell me about that first time where you guys were, sat down and were like, all right, let's do it. Let's lay one down.
Yeah, it was the process, I would say, like the main thing we had to figure out was the long distance thing between Rhode Island and New Jersey. I remember having Bloom like 90% written. Um, Obviously without like drums or anything like that. I have the worst percussive rhythm ever. So I kind of when I initially hit Chris up, I was like, hey, I kind of want like I'm doing like this. I have like these rock kind of inspired songs with like a little bit of a pop punk, influence in there. Um, I was just like, hey, like what kind of music do you think we would be able to make together? And yeah, we got together for the first time. Chris, from your perspective, I kind of came with like a foundation of a song to you. Do you remember like what it was like having to add to that? Because it's a different dynamic. Because this is the first time we played together where we weren't in a full band kind of deal.
Yeah, well, I think one of my favorite parts still is getting your demos because the way that you name them is so funny. You'll be like, Bloom fucking shitty demo, just terrible guitars or something in the like in parentheses. And I'm like, all right, what do we got? And it's just guitar and vocals. So I'll sit down and listen to it a couple times on my way to and from work and just kind of think about it, not too much, and then just kind of like feel it out, like air drumming basically. Um, and yeah, I mean, I have in where I am right now is like the studio, small studio space that we have. So there's a little drum set in the corner as well. It's my girlfriend's workstation over there. And then we got tiny little drum set and some guitars and whatnot. So I will I will demo stuff and send it as well, and just kind of be like, how do you feel about this? Or if it times out that we see each other before that time comes, then we'll usually get together, whether it's here and we'll rent a rehearsal studio in the city, for a couple hours and play through all the tracks, or we'll do it up at Jerry's place in Rhode Island in the barn upstairs. But now we have a whole new space downstairs, which I can't wait to see in person.
Yep. It's gonna make things.
In the house, we're in the house now.
I know. Heat. We have heat. Let's go, baby.
Big time.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Um, so after that, you had Wallows that came out after, but you guys have a new single out right now. It just came out the like a week ago, right?
Yeah, it's been out for a couple of weeks at this point. I think that came out. Yeah, I think it was two Fridays ago. I believe it came out. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a song that actually like I listened to for the first time. That's how how I got your I was scrolling through and I listened to the little excerpt of Obsolete, and I love the sound, guys. Like
Yeah.
it's it's so simple but so technical, and it's just I love it's like I love like anthems. You know what I mean? Like I love the like you say, like the power chords, or like the you know going from really soft to really fast, like, or like lower to loud. I don't really how you would know how you would describe that, but to me they're kind of like they're like the anthem songs.
Mhm.
So like I really dig like that kind of sound. What was the thought process of going into this new song, Obsolete?
Yeah, I remember when I started writing the foundation of it. I knew what I wanted the song to be about. Because it's a topic that's always on my mind, just like getting older and just kind of like the weird like pressures society puts on you, I guess, as you get older, or maybe we put on ourselves too, because maybe people don't care as much as we think they do about like ageism and getting a little bit older and things like that. So it was kind of like a heavy topic, but I wanted the song to kind of be upbeat a little bit. I didn't want the actual I guess like sonic nature of the song to be kind of, so deep or introspective. I still wanted it to be kind of a fun and youthful sounding song. Um, and I knew like I knew for this like project we were working on, because Obsolete is part of a of an EP that's going to be coming out. I definitely wanted a song with horns on it. And so I kind of wrote this one with that in mind for the choruses and things like that. Um, but yeah, like our other music, it kind of came together when we practiced it together for the first time, and Chris was able to add his drums and bass, and that's kind of when the songs take on the personalities that they have, is when we flesh out the parts together. The foundations that I sent to Chris, like the one he was talking about with Bloom, they're so bare bones that even I don't know what they're going to end up sounding like. um but yeah, Chris, I don't know if it's the same for you, kind of, or
Yeah, dude, putting it together is so fun. I remember when we did it in your barn for the when we before we tracked with Mike, this was one of the tunes. And I mean, we did it like we gave ourselves like 2 days, but we really only needed like one night because we went through everything for the first time together in like 2 hours. And we were like, dude, this feels great. But
yeah,
not to like really do it in 2 hours, but just it made so much sense. And
yeah,
when we were playing through it, it was just like, okay, yeah, that feels great. What if we change this part so we're both hitting at the same time here?
yeah.
Um, but even more of like that song, well, I don't even think I knew it at the time. Maybe you knew it too, the way that you were writing it, of like starting low. It's so much of the pattern of that is tension and release. And then you get to that big kind of like what you were saying, kind of almost like an anthemic ending when the horns come in and everything's like do do ga do 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 ga. You could just
Yeah.
used to that, you know? So building that up was so fun, especially with at the beginning with the toms and then building to that full beat, and then you're back in with the second verse. It's like you've already had a chorus. I feel I'm just getting boring right now. I was talking about
No,
music.
hell, hey, that's what we're here for,
But
brother.
yeah, um, but yeah, but the horns too, dude. Like I love what they brought to it, and I really think that helps to root this in like, yeah, there's some Oasis that you can hear in this. There's some Sugar Ray that you can hear in this, but then there's something totally different that is also you can hear in this, which is
Right.
awesome. And it's familiar enough, but it's new enough. Um, so that's what I loved about putting it together.
Yeah, it's the bitter joy, guys. Like you guys have like your sound, you know what I mean? And it's funny that you say, oh, it's 2 hours or whatever. I just interviewed this guy, his name is Austin from the band All Right. And he said like literally they made that song in like 10 minutes or like 15 minutes or something because they needed it at the time, right? So like they just needed it.
Mhm.
So it's like I love how music has different stories, how there's different songs that have been sat on for years, for like years, and then finally they get put out and they're bangers, or like people want to listen, but they've been on the shelf for years. But then there's those songs like you guys had, or like the band All Right had, where let's just lay this shit down really quick, or not even lay it down. Let's just we got to write a song. Boom, let's write a song. Or even it comes natural, like guys, like, or Jerry, like I think we got it right here, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what I love about hearing these stories, and just the different ways that music is created. I think it's beautiful, to be honest. Like I if you put something out and if it takes an artist, like let's say a painter, if it takes them 10 minutes to create a masterpiece that's gonna live on forever, like 20 minutes, an hour or something like that, just because it was made in such a little time doesn't give it any like any less importance, or like it's your sense of urgency, right? It's your sense of urgency, and you're trying to, like, you're coming up with something, and if something comes out really fast, and shit, good for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like good shit.
Yeah, it's such a weird phenomenon, Mike. It's like some days like I'll get extreme writer's block where I'm like, dude, I will never think of another melody again in my life, and it can be really demoralizing. It's like maybe I've just run out of ideas. And then one day I'll just be driving in the car, and a melody will just fall out of the sky. I swear, it's so bizarre, dude. and it's really hard to like explain, I guess. It's almost like they just come to you out of nowhere. Sometimes even the lyrics themselves too, like I'll go on big, like long periods where words are just not coming to me, and I'm just like, man, I just don't think I have this in me. And then one day I'll just be like at work, and my God, I'll write like two verses in a span of 5 minutes. Like it's so bizarre, man. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah, and like with me, I love writing. Um, I haven't done it as much in the past like year or so that I've liked. Um, but whenever I try to like I learned how to write for myself. So before it was like what's gonna sound good to the reader? You know what I mean? Like what's gonna sound good to the reader that I think it is gonna be, and then I'll get to a point and then I'll just fuck, it doesn't make sense anymore. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or but like you step away from it and then like yeah, you're like you said, you're just driving or you're just walking, you're in the shower or something like that. And the idea just like kind of just hits you in the head and
Yep.
it's like a like an apple from an apple tree or something. It just like hits you on the head and it's like, oh fuck, why didn't I think of that in the first place? You know what I mean? But
Weird. It's so weird, man.
yeah, like inspiration could come literally from anywhere at any time
Mhm.
and you just have to be you just have to be open. It's like treasure, bro. Like you just have to keep digging, and you'll find it. You'll
Yep.
find it definitely. Um, Chris, what has been the ultimate purpose of music in your life?
Whoa.
Well,
Um, purpose of music? Ah, God, man, I don't know. That's hard. Give people something to get lost in, I guess, with whatever that means to whoever will hear that. Yeah, it's like it takes you somewhere else. Well, but it really can, man. It's like in all sorts all sorts of different genres and um beats even shows all of it. It's crazy. I guess it's always something that you can turn to, which I think is something that I forget sometimes that you should be, yeah, create, express, turn to it to do those things. But um, when you find yourself doing it, like you said earlier, Mikey, to like, what do you think would sound good to the reader or the listener, or trying to write things to please other people, or doing it strictly to like write a song that will like make you money immediately, and like that kind of culture I feel like it's always been around, but it's been a lot more um, prevalent in the age of technology and social media and giving everybody access to everything all the time. And that's great. And it can create so many opportunities for people too. But when you're constantly seeing and hearing all these tunes that are coming out and being like, should I be writing stuff like that? Like what is music? Like what, you know? Um, so when you can just try to forget about that for a little bit and go back to like giving you something to go back to or like create from and not have to worry about what anything else sounds like. Take your inspiration for sure, but don't like it's inevitable you're going to be comparing yourself to whoever else it may be, whether it's heroes or icons or people that you are curious about or anything where you're like, "Oh my God, what is?" Just keep doing it for the things that it's doing for you. And that you can remember, like why you got into it and what you love most about it. And for me, it's coming back to that, like picking up a guitar or going and sitting behind a drum set and just like making something and being like, great, what, or not great. Oh God, like keep working. Uh, but you don't have to write something every time you sit down and do it. Maybe you do, maybe you will. Um, but just having it there as something that you can turn to is awesome. And if it
Jerry,
pans out and everything is amazing and like you get everything you ever asked for and more, that's great. If it doesn't, it's still there. You still have it.
yeah, definitely. And you still like it's all up here, right? Like it's still you might forget something sometimes, but like yeah, it's just like being confident with your like within yourself, right?
Yeah.
And just like writing, yeah, you need to do it for you because the listener or whoever's the listener, like me, I can tell when when a song is just kind of like big like commercial songs or big pop songs or something. You can tell when it's just we need to make some money off of this song or whatever, and it's kind of like the same tune, the same kind of like layout of the song. And yeah, it's gonna make money, but is it really gonna resonate with anybody, right? Like, but that's what you want to do. Like, or at least for me, like when I start writing and I start publishing, because that's still one of my dreams as well. I'm gonna make sure that it's something that I love, because if it's something that I don't love, I feel like it's just the reader, the listener can hear that in the song, right? And you want to feel as genuine as you can when you're creating. And when you don't do it for money, I feel like that's when it's not always for money, because I'm not gonna lie here and say that I don't want to get rich off of my podcast. And I know you guys would love to get rich off of your music, right? But if that's the driving factor, it's you're not gonna go for it. You're gonna get yourself lost along the way. Like, definitely. You have to take those little bumps in the beginning. You have to learn how to do things. You have to learn how to do things for yourself. And yeah, I love music, man. Like, I love music. I love I just love creativity. Um, but yeah, Jerry, what's been the purpose of music in your life?
Yeah, I think it like in a weird way, it kind of gives me purpose, if that's a fair answer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, I don't know what I'd be doing if I didn't have music in whether it be listening to it or definitely creating it. Any free moment I have, I am desperately trying to come up with something or playing my guitar, noodling around. I would have nothing to do, bro, if I didn't have
Mm.
music. And I guess in a weird way, I'm just very thankful that we have it, man. I I was thinking of it while Chris was answering too, and I was just like, before I was in bands and stuff like that, I was a pretty sheltered kid for didn't travel at all or do any cool shit like that. But I mean, we talked about Planet Mercury, the band I was in before with Chris, and dude, shit allowed me to like tour the East Coast and meet people and play shows, and it was just like culture shock all the time for me. And so music is just like it's just so much more than just creating. It's just given me like so many cool experiences. And then I guess on a grander scale, like a deeper thing, like I just think like life would be so colorless and boring without like can you imagine like driving to work and there's just nothing I know like you're not listening to anything, you know what I mean? Um and like I know a big angle of your show, which is really awesome, is kind of like where the music comes from and like why do people create? I think I think that humans create mostly to add like color to life. You know what I mean? Because life would be so boring, bro, if we didn't have. And that's like art in any sense, of course. But um, yeah, I think that's a huge reason why I create is like I just want to put music out into the world. It just makes life more interesting, and I don't know. Yeah. So to answer your question, man, I'm sorry. It kind of like gives the purpose music has had on me is it kind of has given me a purpose and a reason to get out of bed. It's been like the ultimate hobby in a way.
Yeah, and that's kind of like me too. Like, if anybody is still listening to the show, they're gonna hear this, they're gonna hear this. They've heard this before, but like I yeah, like it gave me a purpose again.
Yeah.
Music gave me a purpose, and I've always been looking for how or what music's purpose is in my life or can be in my life. And like you said, like life would be so boring, like if you're not listening to music on the road, in the shower, on your walk. during exercise, like I need it all the time. Like I tell people, like if if I'm in deep thought, I'm probably just not thinking anything at all. I'm just probably listening to a song in my head, you
Yeah.
know. And it's real. Like I remember when I didn't have like an iPod, or I didn't have a Zune, or I didn't have something like that, and I would have to walk from like home from my friend's house. It was like in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Fucking, what is this kid doing out in the middle of the night? Um, and I would be scared, bro, because there was a lot of lights like walking to my house. You know what I mean? Not scared, but yeah, like a tough scare. You know what I mean? Like, "Uh, that's gonna happen to me or whatever." But in my mind, I'm like, look, like there's, like, what was there? There's a cat. You know what I mean? But really kept me going through like those times was I would sing songs. I would learn songs in full so that I could sing them on my way home. And
Yep.
I had some like this is like the first time I told anybody this. Also, like it's not like it's to have something up there so that you're not alone. You're not really alone. You know what I mean? You have that melody in your head. You have something that's distracting you, and that thing that you don't really need the actual music. It's like a download, like an upload, right? That's what I love about music is like I can remember movie quotes. I can remember, things that happen or whatever, but I can't always remember them in full or, like, but music, I can have a song up here in my mind and sing it from start to finish and know where every transition is and know where every single instrument goes. And I can, and, but that was because I just didn't want to feel alone, right? On my walks home. I didn't want to like I needed something, and that something has always been music.
Yeah.
And finally I found my purpose with it. You know, I wasn't, I just never had the discipline and the want to sit down and like learn an instrument because I wanted somebody to teach me, I that was one of my biggest things growing up is that I didn't have a coach or I didn't have this, why I didn't have anything that anybody else wanted, but that was pretty much like, bro, stop being a little bitch and just do it. I like not trying to be like manly or misogynistic or anything, but it's just that like stop being so scared, and just go do it because if you start, something beautiful can happen, but like I said, they're uploads and I can hear them, I can see the music video and I just, music is just it's if we didn't have music, like you, Jerry, I have no idea what I would be doing right now. And but yeah, like I started this and I was like, who cares? Nobody's gonna want to listen. Like, who cares about me? Like blah blah blah, all of this whining and, finding like feeling sorry for yourself. But until finally I kind of like slapped myself in my face in my head and was like, bro, no, like this is what you're here for. This is what you're meant for. You're meant for music and talking. That's always been like my like thing. I love music and I love talking and I love getting into people's minds and finding out where things come from or how things are created. That's just part of my life. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to be able to do things like this with you guys, to be able to find your guys' where your guys' creativity comes from, bringing out those little stories like that you might not have thought of like in so long and sharing that because these stories actually show the people what you guys are about. And I feel after interviewing you guys and like knowing what you guys are all about, I feel like I can appreciate the music a little more and a little better. And it sounds better to me now because I know your vision. and what that vision was supposed to be. And, and I feel like this can maybe help also other like newer artists that are barely coming along, and they're like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, or I want to start doing this or whatever. But like your guys' stories, like it's people have different things in their life. People have different times in their life where they started, these transformations in life. It's not always going to be music. You have to have had music since you were a kid. Like you could literally pick up a guitar today, start learning, and who knows, you might be one of the best fucking guitar players in a year or two. You know what I mean? Like, but that's with anything, right? Just start it. I don't know if you guys ever talked about this before as a band, but my last question that I like to ask is either what is the bitter joy, or what is Chris or Jerry's message that they want to give to the world?
Yeah. I guess I could start with what the bitter joy is. When I came up with the band name, I definitely wanted to come up with something that kind of had a positive and negative kind of connotation.
Mhm.
Um, the bitter joy is kind of like, well, it's a pretty personal project, so it kind of encompasses what I feel life and the experience of life is. Not everything is positive, not everything is negative. There's kind of both in that. Um, so yeah, just know that like life is tough, dude, and you can always come out of tumultuous times, and you'll always be better for it. Just stay strong and stay positive. Um, yeah, and just keep listening to music, keep supporting, small indie artists as well. Um, yeah, music is the most important thing. So, yeah, definitely. And then, Mikey, obviously, thank you for having us on the show too. Because to your point, shows like this allow us to share our story. Otherwise, people wouldn't even know about how we started or our relationship as friends. So it's a huge asset to have as a small artist. But yeah,
Heck yeah, dude. Mm. Don't let distance keep you down. Don't let the man keep you down. And yeah, music rips. It's a universal language that I feel like a lot of people can learn. And once you start learning it, it's so fun to keep learning it and speaking it with everybody else, It's
Oh
great.
yeah, definitely. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. I had a fun time. It was a great conversation. Um, Jerry, can you tell us where we can find the Bitter Joys music, and if you guys have anything else coming in the future?
yeah, of course. So you can find the Bitter Joy on pretty much all streaming services. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music. You can find us on YouTube as well if you prefer to listen to us there. We have social media on Instagram, TikTok. We post all kinds of stuff there. Um, and yeah, for upcoming releases, we do have an EP coming out somewhere down the line. We have a couple more singles that we want to promote first. But yeah, we definitely have more tunes on the way. So if you like what you hear, definitely give us a follow or whatever, and stay in touch. You can message us, and we'd love to hear from you. And thank you for coming along and listening to us. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Again, guys, like I said, Chris, thank you so much. Jerry, thank you so much for joining. And you're following me along this new musical journey as well. So I really appreciate that. And I can't wait to hear some new music. And we'll definitely get you guys on the show again to talk about something else. Talk about music and something else. Or whenever you guys have your new EP on, we'll talk about that as well. But as we say at the end, everybody, remember, be safe and be great. We share because we care. Peace.